welcome back. You know, a lot of people have been furloughed or lost their job through no fault of their own, rather due to the pandemic shutdown. It's also tough right now for a lot of landlords when a tenant can't pay because they have obligations of their own right now. Joining me now to talk about how there could be help for both parties involved is Sara Figal, the Executive Director of the Nashville Conflict Resolution Center. Hi, Sara.
Glad to be here. Hello.
Thank you so much for coming and talking about this. It's such important information for those people who rent and may be behind in their rent and may not be able to pay even going forward. Talk a little bit about how Nashville Conflict Resolution Center has received this grant and you're able to help now.
We're thrilled. We, like, of course, other organizations in town, have really benefited from the Metro government's commitment to help landlords and tenants through this period. I think many people are aware that the Center for Disease Control has tried to prevent the spread of COVID by putting a stay on a lot of evictions, because we know there are many tenants who simply can't pay rent because of the domino effects on our economy from COVID. And of course, that just then puts a terrible financial burden on landlords who then potentially can't pay their mortgages or they can't pay their employees. So fortunately, we have these CARES funds, and we like to tell the people we work with, it's not charity, it's your money, it's your tax money finally coming back to you as it should in a national emergency, right? These are all people who've tried really hard to grapple with our current situation, but have now these financial difficulties. We are able to, our organization specifically is working to simply prevent evictions. And we are happy to help any tenant and any landlord who are willing to sit and work together to figure out what it takes to keep them both afloat, at least until the moratorium's lifted December 31st.
So Nashville Conflict Resolution Center, or NCRC, is basically a mediation sort of service to the community. You've been around.
That's exactly what we are. We're oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, you've been around 20 years.
Yes. You know, this year we planned, of course, all kinds of 20-year celebration things, with the goal that we, at the end of this year, would no longer be Nashville's best kept secret. We haven't been able to throw all the parties we intended, so we're hoping maybe we can do it for our 21st. But we have. We've been around for 20 years, and we provide free mediation services, usually focused on lower income people who struggle with access to justice in the first place. And I like to say we're providing free access to a gentler justice, because mediation allows individuals to come together with a mediator, really take control of how solutions can be developed, and then the courts respect the outcomes. So it's a really nice way for us to work with maybe parents who are dealing with custody visitation issues. We deal quite a lot with young people who may have had an outburst and need to kind of figure out how to move forward without necessarily entering a juvenile justice system or school expulsions or those kinds of things. And then we've always done quite a lot with landlords and tenants, hoping that if landlords and tenants can sit down and work through whatever's going on, even if if money is owed or someone does ultimately have to move, if we can help facilitate that so people don't have to carry punitive court judgments with them, it's a much healthier process for everybody.
Sara, who's eligible? Who's eligible for this program, and how are you able to bring them together with landlords and just sort of sit down and talk this through?
Well, traditionally, I mean, there's kind of the regular work we do, and then there's this crazy, how can we get money to people who need it before December 31st program. And our regular kind of MO is we tend to get cases referred to us through courts or schools or other community partners. But and we actually serve quite a few counties. We serve a number of Middle Tennessee counties, and we now have a youth mediation program in Shelby County. We opened up in Memphis. But individuals often will call us, and attorneys will call us, because attorneys know that if they have clients who struggle to pay, we will provide a service for free. That's the, you know. Now, in the current CARES rent assistance, that is restricted. I wish we could take absolutely everyone from anywhere, but these funds, because they are metro funds, they can only be used for cases in which the tenant resides in Davidson County. That's and the tenant does have to sign a couple of forms. I mean, some of it's just sort of housekeeping, but one is the tenant does have to demonstrate in some way that the current financial distress is linked to the pandemic. But at the same time, we don't let anyone get hung up on their ability to provide documentation. We don't ask for social security numbers. We recognize that there are many people in Davidson County who may work for cash. They don't have records. But if they're willing to sign something that says, my current distress is pandemic related, we will help them. And it doesn't matter how little money you have or how much money you have, because we know this situation is impacting people across all of our neighborhoods, all of our income levels. People are suffering, and it's nice to be able to help. Of course, landlords are thrilled because, and so it's not hard to get them to the table. They know, I mean, the reality is landlords could sue the tenants. A judge might say, yeah, the money's owed, but it's not there to get to, you then have a judgment and everybody loses because the money simply isn't there to give the landlord unless we can help using tax funds in this way. So yeah, this is like our normal work made so much easier. Plus we get to have this marvelous moment of saying, you can breathe easy because we got you.
Yeah.
Right? We have these tax funds to put back in your pocket to get you through a little while longer.
So the money is given directly to the landlords?
To the landlord. No.
Okay.
What we are doing, so we work with the tenant to ascertain need. And I mean, think of the families, think of all these parents, these working parents who suddenly have had to stay home with their children who don't go to school.
Right.
Or families in which someone has had to be quarantined or been ill. I mean, it's just the domino effects have been really terrible. So, and then we of course have whole industries that shut down. So the tenant displays need, and then we ask the landlord to provide an account of what is owed and what may be owed if it's pretty clear that, the family does not have the security yet to confidently say, of course I can pay for November or December because conditions haven't changed yet. And then we work together, we produce a written agreement that basically says, landlord agrees to accept X dollars, which cover this back rent and maybe November and December rent. And this place, parties understand that tenant is now again in good standing with regard to rent through December 31st. And they all can then just go,
yes, I can just imagine. This must be so rewarding for you. Sara, how can people find out more? Because I know this has to sort of come through the court system, but if they want to learn more about this, what do you think?
This does not have to come through the court system. We're taking them from the court because we also want to catch all of those cases where landlords had felt so pressured that they began eviction proceedings, and we want to catch those so those can be dismissed. We'd like to get those people out of the court.
This is such an important information, and I'm sure you have more on your website, and folks can reach you there. Is it Nashville Conflict Resolution Center.org?
NashvilleConflict.org.
Fantastic.
And there is a little application link, and it goes right into our system, and we've got a whole team working pretty much 7 days a week right now.
Thank you, Sara, for being here.
I appreciate it. I certainly hope we can help as many as we can.
Thank you. And thank you all so much for watching. I'm Tawanda Combe, and I'll see you next time. Be safe.